Brought to you by EnterSwitch. Transaction solutions you can depend on.
Good morning and thank you for joining us this morning. Today, Wednesday, the 31st of March, 2021 for Business Express 981. My name is Valentine Ohu and Rotus is here. Good morning, Rotus. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Valentine. Good morning to all our listeners around the world tuning in. Hope everybody on this hump of the week.
Hump day it is. Yes, we're excited. Friday and Monday is public holiday. That's the 2nd and the 5th.
But we don't get public holidays, Val. So no need to tell them we don't get public holidays. We work every day.
Yeah, we do. Essential services,
every day.
Right? Frontline workers.
Exactly.
Please join the conversation by sending messages through WhatsApp to 0809 444 0981. That's our WhatsApp number. That's 0809 444 0981. We're streaming live on YouTube, so you can join in to watch as well as leave a comment on that platform. You can leave a comment on Twitter at Smooth981FM is our handle. Add the hashtag BusinessExpress981. Rotus, what's cooking today?
Yeah, I'm still on this health matter. I and I discussed this yesterday, and I'm still this is on President Buhari's trip to the UK. Yes. He'll be back in about 2 weeks for a routine checkup. This day newspaper carried out an investigation. Nigeria has budgeted between 2015 and 2019 2.5 trillion naira for health. As much as upon all the money that we budgeted between those 4 years, what do we have to show for it? There's not enough equipment. This renowned virologist, Professor Oyewale Tomori, spoke to this day and said, look, we need more equipment to assist our medical facilities. By the way, the World Health Organization says the threshold for health budgets should be about 9% of GDP, or 9% of what's been bought, 9% of GDP, right? And based on the budget of that 59 trillion, total budget allocations between 2015 and 2019 is 59 trillion, right? That figure should come out to 5.4 trillion naira based on the threshold. So sorry, it's not 9% of GDP, it's 9% of what's been total, 9% of total budgets of what the country has budgeted for, of its total budget for expenditure and so on. So we're not even at the threshold. So we're about halfway there. And I think they talked about the investigation talked about the doctors and nurses that are continuing to leave the country. I didn't even know there was a strike. Yesterday when we were talking about all this, there's apparently a strike that's supposed to take place either today or tomorrow. I wasn't aware of that when I was talking about the president leaving for his routine checkup. And I think the strike that's supposed to be happening, or maybe they're talking about calling it off, is taking place because of issues with salaries and so on. There was a young lady who is part of a dentist or so. I think she was protesting in was it Abuja or somewhere else about lack of salary payment. So, there's so much that needs to be addressed in the healthcare sector. And in the middle of that, you've got the president just leaving for a routine checkup. Yeah. Meanwhile, the health clinic in Aso Rock has had, I can't remember the amount of funds that has been budgeted. It's to the tune of billions between 2015 and 2019. The clinic in Aso Rock, I think their overhead cost was about 300 or 400 million naira in 2019 or 2018. So if you can't even use your own clinic at Aso Rock,
that you spend so much money on.
Exactly. And Nigerians are not outraged. I mean, where is the it's as if I guess we've just gotten used to these things. We just look at what we're doing now. We're just talking about it, complaining. Nigerians should be more outraged about this. They really, really should be. Because the amount, it's infuriating. I don't have money to fly to the UK for a routine checkup. If I needed, unless my life was in danger and I need serious surgery or something, that's when I'll just put all my money or savings into flying overseas. But it could bankrupt me. So that is the reality that a lot of Nigerians are facing. And you ask yourself, 2.5 trillion naira budgeted for the health sector over the last 4 years. most of that money probably has gone to overhead costs, or, it never went to capital expenditure in getting more equipment. How many MRI machines do we have in this country? So it's, I just wanted to piggyback on the conversation with actual numbers that, have been investigated by some of our newspapers.
This brings us back to the conversation of how affordable healthcare is in Nigeria and the access to it. I mean, if it was expensive but accessible, that's a different conversation. But this one is expensive, it's not accessible, you have limited resources, there's brain drain. So it's a hydra-headed problem.
It's one of the many issues one of the many issues that this country continues to face.
Yinka Bolu is first in on the show. He said, I keep saying the president's advisors are the greatest problem that he's got. You see that trip? It's ill-timed. That's what Yinka had to say. On what's
terrible timing. Terrible. Just terrible. The Senate, and another matter, the Senate committee, I was actually kind of surprised at this because, anyway, let me go through what happened. The Senate committee on local and foreign debts yesterday asked the ministries of Agriculture, Finance, and the Debt Management Office to provide details of some loans that they were looking for. So I believe the Finance Ministry and the Debt Management Office are looking for $1.5 billion in foreign loans for the states in order for them to be able to manage COVID issues and the likes. But the State Committee said, you need to give us the credit worthiness of the states. And unfortunately, Patience Oniha, who is the Director General of the DMO, said that she could not provide it. So they said you have to come back and let us know how the states are doing. Remember, I've said in the past, outside of Lagos and Abuja, which is the federal capital territory, let me not get into Abuja because my last trip there, I don't. What was that? If not for the fact that Abuja is the capital of Nigeria. I honestly don't know what Abuja produces, where, as far as in manufacturing, Abuja does anyway, but let me not get into that. I'm not here to do that. My own point is that she couldn't provide the credit worthiness of each of the states in order to justify them getting $1.5 billion for loan utilization. On the other hand, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Nanono, he wanted 995 million euros to procure tractors for, I think he's getting like 300 tractors from Brazil in order to further mechanization of agriculture. They also rejected it. They said, look, yes, you want these tractors, but what about human capital development and training to be able to use the tractors appropriately to get the increased yield per hectare? Because Nigeria's yield per hectare is very, very low compared to India, China, and other nations. So people have said that this is a rubber stamp Senate where anything that they just ask for, they give. So I was quite surprised.
That's a valid question.
Yeah, they are surprised that they said, no, look, you know what, Patience Oniha, the DMO, you go get the credit worthiness of the states. Mr. Nanono, Minister of Agriculture, you come back and prove that these tractors you want to spend 995 million euros on, that there's enough farmers and so on, and people who are trained enough to be able to utilize them so we can get the most productive output from those sites. So said no money. And in fact, by the way, speaking of loans, the DMO released our latest debt stock for December 31st. I talked about this yesterday, where we're at 32 trillion, and I think about 86 billion dollars. That hasn't factored in that's of December last year. That hasn't factored in these new loans that we're looking for. Nigeria's debt binge is nuts. I mean, we're just going loan after loan, but we have no choice. I think, at this point, although a lot of people, I'm trust Yinka and other people, they will say, why don't you cut down the cost of governance? How much you're spending on the House of Reps, the executive, and so on and so forth. So that's, again, this next administration that's coming in 2023, man, the debts that they're going to face, I feel for them.
I feel for them, honestly. But you know how they say government has no business doing business, right?
Right. Exactly.
But I feel like, do you believe government should be run as a business, Rotus?
I believe that the same metrics that you use to measure a business when it comes to income and expenditures should be used. That critical eye should be used for government as well. Nigeria, there's a lot of waste in Nigeria. You can't.
Well, we do a lot. We carried a lot of processes that almost indicate that, oh, we're on the right track and we're doing the right things. But those kind of questions that the Senate asked these people that you mentioned, especially the governor of that state, they're very important questions. Of course. So you can't just ask for money and then we give it to you and you buy tractors and then what are you going to do with it? You pack it
exactly.
For how many months? And they're not going to be packed and then improved by themselves. They're going to be degraded. They're going to degrade all the time.
Fine, but we need the tractors though. Nigeria's tractor, we don't have as many tractors as other countries.
As we need, yes.
Yeah. But the Senate raised a critical issue: who is trained well enough to be able to use them, and so on and so forth. But even going further, when it comes to the credit worthiness of the states, most of these states, if you look at their internally generated revenue, their FAC allocations are far higher than the income these states are able to generate. So if you're now saying, okay, we keep these states that are so indebted, all they do is get oil money that is shared from the executive or so down to them. What needs to be done? The whole issue of the way Nigeria is structured, where everything works from the middle and the states don't have independence, one has to probably look at that structure. So you're looking at the restructuring argument that keeps coming up again and again.
Yes.
Where states have to be free to be able to raise their own money. So it's just a problem.
I wonder how many states will be able to survive then. In fact, I feel like Lagos, if that is tested, you find a lot of states borrowing from each other.
And then now, Lagos, Rivers, and Delta, those are the three highest states with largest IGR. Those are the three. There's only like maybe 6 solvent states. I think the last budget, that is BUDGIT, that the budget, the last report they did is only like 6 or 7 solvent. I mean, look, it's overwhelming stuff.
That message is to go through.
All right, go ahead.
Benga Kamu says, Nigerians have become so stressed out about this matter that it seems we've given up. Imagine what the president's aides had to say about his medical tourism trip. Nasty finish, he said. And he adds, everything is shipped into Abuja. It's a consumption capital and also a revenue sharing center, Abi. And he says that Greek minister was asked hard questions and he couldn't provide valid answers to. Those tractors, are they suitable for our environment? Cut down on governance, Bao. When we can always deregulate everything. Is that even those tractors, what is the support system in place to manage and repair them? That's Benga. Right. Thank you, Benga. Inka says, do we really need money to manage COVID issues, at least for some states? I think I'd prefer to get such loans to buy guns for the vigilante groups. What's the point of managing COVID issues in a situation where you're not sure if you'll be alive the next hour? So have we have a Minister of Agriculture? How is he addressing the farmers' herdsmen issue? By the way, tractors for who? Why not allow the farmers get the loans to buy their tractors, teach them to be responsible farmers, buy tractors, and you need connection to rent it?
Good points. Good points. Real quick, this one I think we should save this for tomorrow, but very quickly, the Minister Ni Adebayo, Minister of Trade and Investment, he was in Ogun State, in Abeokuta, Ogun State. And apparently he said that the Nigeria's infrastructure deficit could hamper the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. This is in news though. This is
not, I mean, we've been talking about this since they started even talking about signing it or even sat down to deliberate on it.
So your borders,
it's a trade. If you don't have something to sell, how would you benefit from that?
Exactly. So he was represented by the Director of Trade in the Ministry, Aliyu Abubakar. They led a National Action Committee on the AFCTA to the states, part of the nationwide sensitization engagement they've been doing, where they've been going from state to state and talking about it. So he said, and he just said that, hey, look, these are infrastructure issues. You know, it will hamper our ability to be able to do exports, quality goods to our other African neighbors. So that's something else that's been bandied about. And then I think the same Minister of Agriculture, he was somewhere else where he talked about our food import bill. I think it's reached 1.8 trillion naira. I'll get those numbers maybe tomorrow as we discuss with our guests from Stanbic. But recently, it's just import bill is going up. Infrastructure issues are still there. tourism matter with the president, states not able to justify loans. Oh man, this stuff,
Inka has a
know.
joke in, but before Inka's joke, Gizmo Bear rather on YouTube says, I suspect that Aso Rock Clinic budget is being used for this presidential medical trips. And then Inka says, Val, Rotus, when are you guys picking up your enlistment forms? Trying to imagine in camouflage. He said, trying to imagine you both in camouflage army gear. I'm always writing my will and showing my wife my assets. Yinka, sad situation, interesting point. But if you see Rotus and I in camouflage any day, you should be scared.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Very scared.
Thank you, though. Thank you, Rotus.